Imagine this. You've almost defeated the man responsible for mortally wounding your master. And your master, a mere child, is the only person of his bloodline. However, this is no ordinary child. In fact, he's the very reason you can continue to battle. The dragon's blood. A source of immortality which many seek to obtain by any means necessary. And with the final blow ready to be delivered to the biggest threat to your master, you keep your sword at the ready to see your opponent's final move. However, just as your journey feels close to its end, the man before you, Genichiro, reveals a final desperate attempt to take the dragon's blood. He raises his sword, a black blade exuding inhumane power, and he sets it between his neck and shoulder blade and slices downward as blood begins to spurt out. Silver grass flowers dance in the wind as you still stand at the ready, when suddenly a hand bursts out from the wound and slowly reaches down, grabbing the blade's hilt. Bones crack, blood surges, and a man steps forth. Both men stand confidently as the final battle begins. Hesitation is defeat. A quote uttered by Isha Nishina, the sword saint, when defeating you in battle. In the final confrontation of the game, Sekiro shadows die twice. This game was nothing like we had ever seen before, and was an innovative step forward in Souls-likes and video games as a whole. Hi, I'm Noam James, and today I want to talk about, can Sekiro actually teach you discipline? Disclaimer, I want to inform you guys that this is one of my favorite games of all time, so I'm gonna glaze the hell out of this game. Pause, by the way. Also, there may be a few minor spoilers when it comes to final bosses of games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, but they've been out for years, so... Anyways, Sekiro released at a time when I was still getting into the Souls-like genre, and I had started off by playing the original Dark Souls. I played it on my roommate/friend's computer, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I played for hours, and I enjoyed the game. However, there comes a moment in every gamer's life where you encounter that one boss fight that will haunt you forever. Ornstein and Smaug. I crashed out so hard during this fight, and I still remember why. He wanted me to get the Leo ring, so I had to beat Smaug first. But then, when Ornstein becomes Super Ornstein, he just decimates you. And I can't even come up with the words to describe how angry I was. Just know, this fight sticks with me to this day. Nevertheless, like a little brother watching his big brother win, it was both satisfying yet unfulfilling. I had to have my friend beat this boss fight. However, we both finished the game, and for the first time as a gamer, I felt an emptiness. I love the story and the gameplay, but there was this void left that needed to be filled. I needed to play a Souls game all the way through by myself. No help, no guides, just me. My first chance arrived when Bloodborne released. Different but similar to Dark Souls, I took on this game. I battled, I struggled, and even though I died multiple times, I refused to give up. I made it to the final boss with no help, and I got absolutely shit on. I quit after 3 days of trying to beat Gehrman, and I gave up on Bloodborne right at the finish line. My chance came again a year later when Dark Souls 3 released, and in classic fashion, I fought my way through and made it to the final boss again. You guys noticing a trend yet? Soul Ascender treated me like the scrub that I was, and gave me the worst ass whooping to date. I did get him the second phase once. Yeah, that was cool. I dropped another Souls game right at the finish line, and I was starting to believe that I just wasn't a Souls player. However, I was going to give this one final chance, and that final chance came in March of 2019, when Sekiro Shadows Die Twice released. My roommate/friend bought it on his PC, and I began my journey. I clawed and fought my way through one of the toughest Souls games to date. And once I finally reached Isha Nishina, I was determined to win. I was determined to get good. I studied his movements. I prepared every ninja tool. I looked at every possible angle and failed miserably. I put the game down again. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. See, I took some much needed time away from the game. The Air Force made me deploy, and during that time, I began to think. It didn't matter how long it took me to beat them. As long as I learned something new each time, I'm getting better. So after 6 months and a great workout routine, I jumped back in. Ishin and I fought for days, and finally, I struck the final blow. I did it. I had finally beaten the Souls game. Sekiro was first, and soon after, I began beating each final boss one by one. I had become a true Souls player. You begin the game as Wolf, a shinobi tasked with one mission: protect your master by any means necessary. Kuro, the divine heir, is a child who possesses the dragon's blood, a mysterious power that grants immortality. And unfortunately, Wolf is killed in a battle, but unknowingly resurrected by Kuro. However, recovering and suffering from amnesia, he loses the will to fight and disappears, believing he had failed at his mission. Years passed, and my brother and I discovered the new— Nah, I'm kidding. But years pass, and Emma, the physician, delivers a note to Wolf that says, "Protect young Lord Kuro." Believing his mission has been restored, he goes off in search of his young master. He reunites with Kuro in a nearby tower, and Kuro warns him that they must flee immediately, for people want to acquire his blood. Kuro gifts Wolf his signature weapon, Kusabimaru, and now armed, Wolf clears a path for both of them to escape the land of Ashina. He cuts down multiple enemies in his path and makes it to the border when suddenly, blocking their path is Genichiro Ashina, a man hellbent on cultivating the dragon's blood for himself to ensure Ashina continues to thrive. Wolf raises his sword in a tense battle. Just then, Genichiro, or depending how it goes, the Nightjar Ninja, cuts Wolf's arm clean off, now forever branding him as Sekiro, the one-armed wolf. Sekiro then passes out from the immense pain as he has to watch in horror as his master is carried off by the Nightjar Ninja. He wakes up in the care of a mysterious sculptor with a new prosthetic arm. Now with Kuro missing, Sekiro must find his master before Kuro's power is exploited by those who would seek immortality. I'm positive, just like every Souls player, when this game released, I tried to play this game like any other Souls game. Dodge, use iframes, and do damage with small attacks. And this game is nothing like that, and that's why I love it. And it took me until Lady Butterfly to understand this. The fights in this game feel like real anime sword fights. Constant pressure, clashing blades, and no downtime. This made the combat feel fresh yet challenging. Also, the introduction of ninja tools and skills gave you way more ways to succeed. You didn't need to rely on a single build to win and could swap between ninja tools and skills fluidly. Now you're not waiting for openings, you're creating them. Sekiro at its core though is still a rhythm game, and learning your opponent's moves are essential to victory. And this is where your discipline comes in. This is one of those games where swinging willy-nilly will get you killed quickly. On the flip side, holding your guard up isn't correct either. Balance, timing, and control are key. That is why Ishin Ashina says hesitation is defeat. Irresponsibly utilizing any of your tools in battle can be fatal. And then there's resurrection. Coming back to finish a battle is such a great feature, providing not only newer players with a sense of security, but also a fantastic learning tool. The scenery is gorgeous, the gameplay is seamless, and the fights are next level. I mean, just look at this sequence. Absolutely insane. But what really makes this journey unforgettable are the friends and foes, mostly foes, you meet along the way. Characters such as Ishin Ashina, the man who founded the land of Ashina and the Myriad style user. Owl, Wolf's adopted father and shinobi master. Genichiro, grandson of Isha Nishina, and oh, how could I forget, wielder of lightning? Like, every character in this game is insane, and all their fights were awesome. Except you. I hate you. Additionally, the story and subtle changes and consequences in the game feel real. Dragon rot, a sickness and unfortunate side effect of activating dragon's blood. This affects people throughout the world the more Wolf resurrects. Also, the outfits that can be unlocked from each ending are dope. I mean, just check these out. This one is definitely my favorite though. This one can be obtained through the Shura ending. You actually have to fight Emma the physician, who becomes Emma the Gentle Blade. And seriously, why can everyone in this world fight? Either way, each ending is so cool and they are all worth their own playthrough to complete. Honestly, this game is a top 3 games of all time for me, and second among Souls-likes. Elden Ring is number 1. But that's a video for another day. So it should come as no surprise that this game is a certified masterpiece. I have no complaints about this game, unless when I made a mistake and died, then this game really sucks. But seriously, this game still holds up after 8 years because in Sekiro, you don't get to run from your problems. You face them head on. So can Sekiro actually teach you discipline? I think it can. Not just through its combat, not just through its difficulty, but through what it demands from you. Patience, focus, consistency. Because this isn't a game you can button mash your way through. It's a game that forces you to improve. And for me, it wasn't just about beating Isha Nishina. It was about failing, walking away, and coming back, and choosing not to give up. Over and over and over again until I finally got it right. Sekiro didn't just make me a better player, it changed how I approach challenges. Because in this game, and honestly in life, hesitation really is defeat. You don't get to run from your problems. You face them head on. And every time you fail, you're still learning how to win. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. As you might have noticed, I got a new mic and I want to continue to output these videos for you guys. I love talking about games and have many more projects planned. As always, please provide any constructive criticism or positive suggestions that you may have for me. I'm always willing to improve and you guys are a big part of that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.